Good evening, everybody. I'm Miriam O'Callaghan. I feel really privileged this evening to be hosting this. It's a wonderful 40-year celebration. I love the reading in the year's music. I think it's very appropriate. Mayfest has been so important to so many people for so many years, and it's a tribute to Vision Sports Ireland. We've got so many interesting speakers today. I was just reading about them earlier, with great life stories of incredible success, incredible courage, and just great happy stories. So let's enjoy ourselves. It's a celebration. It's a great celebration this evening. And first of all, I'd like straight away to hand over to a very busy man, but he's taken the time to be with us this evening. Please give a very warm welcome to Minister Jack Chambers, Minister of State for the Gaeltacht. Hi, Jack. Thanks for joining us on Sport.
Thanks very much, Miriam, and thanks to all at Vision Sports Ireland for the invitation to speak to you this evening, and a special word of congratulations to President Michael O'Keefe, Chairperson Paul Ledwidge, National Sports Development Manager Paul Keeley, and the small Vision Sports Ireland team for organising a great week of activities in celebration of the 40th anniversary of Mayfest. I know that many people with visual impairment have enjoyed coming together to participate in sporting activity year after year thanks to Mayfest. As with so many other sectors, the pandemic has caused great difficulty generally, so it's a great credit to everyone that you've succeeded in running such a broad and exciting range of events over the past week with all age groups participating. Vision Sports Ireland is a unique NGB as it caters for a cross-section of sports, and it's clear that the merger with the National Council for the Blind of Ireland in 2020 was a far-reaching step forward. I'm delighted to see that there's increased funding as well from Sport Ireland, and is clearly being put to good use with the appointment of its first National Sports Development Manager, who has the ambition to grow the opportunities for sport and physical activity for people with conditions which affect their vision. This fits completely with my aim that sport has to be for all. No barrier should be allowed to prevent anyone from reaping the physical and mental well-being benefits that sport brings. I'm sure that COVID-19 has been a real challenge for many of you. Everybody is fed up at this stage, but we can take heart and encouragement from the progress that is being made in curbing the spread of the virus. The vaccination rollout is also giving everyone a lift and a sense that we're coming through this terrible pandemic, and that there is hope on the horizon. Last week's announcement by government set the stage for the coming months. Sports training is now back in earnest for all ages and grades, and we can also look forward to playing and seeing some great games and matches over the summer months. Swimming pools as well will be open from the 7th of June. And of course, we can also look forward to the Paralympic Games in August. Some of our greatest ever moments on the sports front have come from our Paralympians. To name just two, who can forget the triumphs of Jason Smyth and Katie George and Levy? Along with so many others, they have represented Ireland with distinction and brilliance. It is right and proper that on every occasion such as this, we publicly acknowledge and applaud such distinction and brilliance. And I'm sure there will be many more visually impaired stars to emerge across a variety of sports in the coming years. And I wish all those competing in Tokyo this year the very best of luck. I know there's a panel discussion to take place after these discussions, and may on your behalf thank all this distinguished panelists for giving us the benefit of their views and experiences this evening in these important debates. And I know Senator Martin Conway well, an excellent advocate in the Shannon and the Oireachtas, and I look forward to hearing from him and many of the others on the panel. And to conclude, therefore, can I again add my congratulations on another fantastic Mayfest, and I offer my best wishes to you all in the future. The government is and will be there to support you, and my door is always open to help in any way I can. So thank you, and back to Miriam.
So much, and thanks for taking the time. It shows how important you view it, and everyone really appreciates you taking the time to be with us this evening. Now I'd like to introduce John Treacy, CEO of Sport Ireland. John.
Thank you, Miriam, and nice to have the Minister with us. Again, huge supporter for everything that is sport, and we're delighted that he's such a strong advocate for sport. Congratulations to Vision Sport, 40 years, a long time, and it's a tribute to the resilience of the organisation. And I suppose that doesn't come as a surprise to ourselves in Sport Ireland, because we've obviously worked with you very closely down through the years, and you've always been visionary and you're always willing to take a chance and work hard, and that's testimony to 40 years down the road. COVID has tested us all, and it's tested the whole sports system, and what we like to think is sport has been very resilient and have come up with innovative ways in terms of they can reach out to their participants. And what never was it more important that Vision Sport did it with their members. And some of the innovative programs they came up with is a tribute to you all in terms of your buddy system and getting people out, buying new equipment, making sure there was an increase in guides, making sure the coaches were there to support the people that wanted to participate. So it's fabulous to see that success, and that is real success. When your back was against the wall, you came out and proved to be able to continue to deliver to your members. And again, this week was another example of that in terms of what can be achieved, even though we are limited. Now we're almost zoomed out at this stage, I might say. I'm zoomed out at this stage, and we're all kind of looking forward to getting out there again. And it's fantastic that we're at this stage where the vaccinations are rolling out. People are getting out there, getting outdoors, and staying safe, and obviously adhering to all the protocols that are out there. And so we look forward to hopefully in the summer months seeing people out running, and obviously watching the Paralympics and watching the success of the likes of Jason again. So look, there's a lot to look forward to in the summertime. So look, just to say to you all, well done in terms of what's been done over the last year. Fantastic testimony to the whole organisation. And I want to wish you very, very, very best in the year ahead. Thank you very much, Miriam.
Thanks so much, John, for that. And now I'm going to hand you over to the great Professor Michael O'Keefe. Michael.
Thank you very much, Miriam. It's good. We've always managed to get a celebrity, a well-known face to front our meeting. And this year is no exception, as you, Miriam, is probably one of the most well-recognized and one of the most respected people in this country. And I'm very grateful that that you've come along and you've decided and to help us and do this pro bono. And I'm very grateful to you. And I'm also, as you know, Miriam, we've always been great friends over the years. So, and thank you very much for fronting it. This has been an exceptional meeting, because in the midst of all this COVID, we've managed to get a fantastic meeting together this week. And this organization has grown from strength to strength over the last 5-6 years or more. And more recently, I think what has happened with more funding, with participation with the NCBI as part of it, with Sports Vision, Sports Council, Sports Ireland, it has grown and grown. And it's a tribute really to one person, that's Joe Geraghty. Joe has put his heart and soul into this organization. He's a phenomenal person. And it is a result of him that it's grown so well. And the idea of this organization is that, as Miriam said, and John and Jack Chambers said earlier, sports is for everybody. And because you're visually impaired, doesn't mean you can't do sports. Nearly every sports activity is open to someone who's visually impaired. And the idea of the organization is to grow it nationally, to get more and more. There are an awful lot of people who are visually impaired who are not participating. And we must get more and more of those people involved in this organization. And so it's been a great organization, and going forward, I think we're going to go from strength to strength. And in particular, I want to thank Jack Chambers, I want to thank John Treacy, and Miriam, I want to thank you in particular for taking the time and effort to come along and host this meeting this evening.
Thanks a million, Michael. It's a privilege. Now we're going on to speak to 4 fascinating people. Actually, I was reading about them and thinking they'd be great guests any day on a radio or television program. I'll probably speak to them individually, but on my first panel, we have Jason Smyth, Roisin, Freddie Wallace, and Zara McFadden. But I'm going to start with Jason Smyth. What to say about you, Jason? Double sprint world record holder, 5-time Paralympic gold medalist. Of course, you're a Vision Sports Ireland board member, and you're currently preparing for the Tokyo Paralympic Games. I mean, first of all, Jason, congrats on all your success, but what are your memories of Mayfest?
Thank you. Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago at this point. My first memories are in 2005 when I first really came on the scene. Started athletics maybe a year or two before, but honestly knew very little about sport for visually impaired and para sport, and went down to ALSA. Don't really know if I had much expectations. As I said, knew very little about where I would be or what level I was at on an international stage, and pretty sure it's a cold, windy day in May in Ireland, shocking as that might sound. And yeah, I suppose the rest is history, really.
Wow. And look, I understand, and it's down to you, that Vision Sports Ireland, they had just special recognition this week from the Procter & Gamble Athletes Good Fund. They're going to receive 10,000 thanks to you.
Yeah, well, not quite all thanks to me, but yeah, the Procter & Gamble is part of the Olympic and Paralympic sponsor. Have opened up funds for, I suppose, athletes through charities they work for, and find fitting cases for that money to be used smartly and wisely and to have a very positive impact, and put Vision Sports forward, because I've seen real opportunity in that, and I know the funds can make a massive impact, and I no doubt the team will do a lot of good things and try to support and continue to grow sport and the opportunities for visually impaired people.
You're obviously an incredible role model for so many people, and also for maybe some of the young people on this panel today. What advice would you give them, Jason?
I think possibly a couple of things. I think in I suppose the aspirations to be at the very top within your sport, the two things that kind of stand out to me are to always try surround yourself with people that are better than you, and that's how you improve, and that's how you grow, and that's how you never really stand still. And the second thing I think that I've probably learned throughout this whole journey, and the thing that I'll continue to take with me, is to believe in yourself and your abilities. And when you kind of can tap into belief, having good people around you and the right work ethic, I really do believe there is no limits to where someone can go. And I think that's a great lesson I've learned through this whole journey in sport.
Well, you've actually proven that. Last question, how are the preparations going for Tokyo?
Yeah, going good. Probably looking at racing in a month's time or so. So that's really where we'll see where things are at. But as everybody's aware, in all aspects, it's just been a very different year, and in preparation, it's been a very different year, and it's about learning to adapt and change to the things that are put in front of you. So time will tell.
Well, everyone in the country will be rooting for you, Jason. And thanks so much for being on the panel. I'm going to talk now to Freddie Wallace. And Freddie's mum, Alison, is there as well. Freddie, you're 11. You're from County Down. I know you love fitness, but you're a keen sprinter and a long jumper. And you recently availed of the Vision Sports Home Equipment grant to purchase a treadmill. Tell me about all the sports you're involved in, Freddie.
I'm involved in rugby, and I do a bit of football, long jump and sprinting.
I've heard you're great at all of them. What is it about sport you love, Freddie?
I just like the way it puts you in a better mood, and it's good for you, and get to have fun with your friends.
Do you have a sports star you particularly admire, Freddie?
Probably Jason Smyth.
Oh, yeah. Is he a bit of a hero? Why is that? Because of all the success he has achieved, Freddie?
Yeah, he's the same eyesight as me and does the same events as me.
Well, there's no reason I think Jason would say. Jason, are you there?
Yeah. I've actually met Freddie a few times down in the track, maybe a bit of last year and the year before a few times. So yeah, he's obviously very talented, and I'm very interested to see how things develop over the next number of years.
Yeah, and Freddie, it must be great that, you know, first of all, you're chatting there to your hero, and secondly, tell me about the new piece of equipment you got. I think it's a treadmill.
Yeah, it's really good because it's higher spec than we could have got without the grant. And when I'm running in the forest or on a road, I might stumble along a curb or a stump, but it's good that it's all flat and smooth.
And do you, like, you're so great at what you do at the moment, Freddie, but do you have goals you'd like to reach? I mean, would you like to try and do what Jason has done?
Yeah, hopefully in the summer the competitions will open up. I'd like to try and do a few of them.
And just one question to Freddie's mum, Alison. You must be so proud of him, are you, Alison?
Yes, of course. And you know, he's got many challenges ahead, but I think athletics in particular and Vision Sports has put a really positive slant and given us a really positive outlook. And he's a very competitive wee boy, and it's just nice that there are competitive sports still very accessible to him. So yes, we're very proud of him.
Well, it sounds like you're probably going to have the same success as Jason Smyth. So Freddie, you stay there. You keep doing great. We'll all be rooting for you. Roisin, I think you're there. You're swimming, I think, Roisin. And 3 weeks ago, you competed at the Para Swim qualification event in Italy, and you reached qualifying standard for Tokyo. I think you got 7 medals. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I think going there, the aim was to get the classification, because I was meant to get it this time last year, but it got cancelled obviously due to COVID. So we went there with that being the main aim, and then obviously once that was done, it was just about the competition then. And yeah, luckily I got the time in 4 events, and yeah, I picked up a couple of medals as well.
So exciting. How did you first, Roisin, get involved in sport?
I think I've always loved sport, but found certain sports harder to do, like ball sports, you know. But swimming was one that I was put into the water for the basic water safety and knowing how to swim. But I loved it, always from the start. And it wasn't then until when I got older that I started to see the differences that my eyesight actually had. And that's how then I got into para.
And you're in TY year, I think. Has that been good because you maybe had more opportunity to spend in training and stuff?
Yeah, I think that it was great that TY happened this year. I've been able to focus completely on swimming, been living almost like a professional athlete for the past year, because obviously we haven't had to go into school much. So it's been great to get all the focus then on swimming.
And, you know, I gather you went to the training camp in Portaventura as well before, you know, you went to Italy. What was that like?
Yeah, it was great. It was great to get out of the country, first of all. And to see all the new normal, I suppose, with the traveling, with COVID and the tests and all that. And it was my first time then properly meeting the para team. So that was obviously, that was a nice way. And then the training over there, the training was great. I was able to incorporate my home program in, and then working with Dave Malone, the coach there as well. So yeah, that was great.
How exciting is it? I'm even excited, and I don't know you, at the thought of you going to Tokyo. I mean, how exciting is something like that in your life?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'd say this time 2 years ago, I wouldn't have ever thought of it. I think it happened so fast, everything. But yeah, it's really, really exciting.
Yeah, well done you. Congratulations. Stay with us. I'm now joined by Zara Mcfadden. Zara, of course, you're from Castlebar. You're an IT Sligo sports scholarship student. And as part of your degree, I know you're currently on a work placement with Sports Vision Ireland. Listen, you've always been involved in sport from a young age, playing camogie, just explain to people, at underage level for Mayo. But I think since July 2018, you've kind of followed your parents, and you're a motor sport loving family, and you have become Ireland's first visually impaired rally navigator. Congratulations. What's that like?
Yeah, I suppose I always wanted to follow in my parents' footsteps. They've both been rally drivers, my mum a navigator as well. So I always wanted to follow in their footsteps and become a rally driver. But when I was 12, I found out that I'd never get a driving license. So it was kind of a big blow at the start. I kind of thought, maybe this was it for me and motorsport. But when I was 17, I applied to Motorsport Ireland for a navigator's license, which is the other person in the car who describes the road ahead to the driver.
Wow. And that's where it began, Zara. That's how you began.
Yeah, that's where it all began. I started off, I just wanted to do kind of one event to prove that I could do it. I always loved motorsport, but I never imagined the love that I'd grow for motorsport. And ever since then, it's gone from strength to strength. And I got to compete in a couple of different championships in 2019, and we got the 4 out of 4 podium finishes in them all. So it's gone from strength to strength, and I really, really love it.
It's incredible. Yeah, as you said there, you had 4 championship podium finishes. What's the feel like when you get that achievement, when you're there on those 4 podium things? Is that an amazing feeling of, I suppose, success, of achievement?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's kind of a mix of emotions, because you're partly thinking, wow, I did it. You're doing it. I do it with my father, so it's a family affair kind of, and I did it with Dad.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing feeling, because it just shows that anything is possible, no matter if you have a disability or not. That if you have a dream in life, there's nothing that should stop you from achieving it.
Such good advice. Now, I think you've been with Vision Sports Ireland work placement for the past. What's that been like? Have they been nice to you?
Well, I better not say no on this call, but yeah, no, I've loved every single minute of it, to be honest. It's given me the opportunity to put everything that we learn in our degree, to put all that into practice. I've loved every minute of it. Every day is a new day in Vision Sports Ireland. There's no 2 days ever the same, but I really loved every minute of it. So I started out on a 13-week placement back in February, but I'm delighted to say that I'll be working for them for the whole summer as well.
Finally, Zara, what have you enjoyed maybe most about this year's Mayfest?
I suppose for me, I wouldn't have been involved much in Mayfest in the past, but I've loved every minute of helping get to organise it from the first point of view. But I've also enjoyed really getting the opportunity to get involved in sports myself, in so many different sports, especially with it being online, that I got to try it from home. But I suppose getting to see everyone get the opportunity to compete in sports that they wouldn't usually get to definitely be the best one for me.
Yeah, well, listening to you all, like, it sounds incredibly inspirational. Jason, can I wrap it up by going to you, I suppose, because you, I suppose, have had objectively such success at such a high level. What do you think your life would have been like if you hadn't been involved in sport? How big a loss would it have been to you?
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to consider it. I mean, the impact sport has had, and that's for me one of the big reasons why I'm such an advocate for it, and especially for visually impaired people, is just, the benefits of sport, physically, mentally, just all aspects of everything. Has such relevance to things people do on a day-to-day basis. So I'm extremely grateful for sport, and will always be extremely grateful for my journey in sport and being involved in it.
And Roisin, how important, final question to you as well, do you think sport is in your life, Roisin? How different would your life be without it?
Yeah, I think my life would be completely different. Sport is, I think my swimming is everything. Like, I do it all the time, and yeah, I couldn't imagine the days go by like without it. I think I'd be a completely different person. I wouldn't know myself like.
And Freddie, you're only 11, but how would you feel if you didn't have sport in your life?
I think it would be a lot less fun and slower.
Very good short answer. Zara, finally to you. What difference does sport make to your life? Not just on a day-to-day basis, but in your life overall?
Well, sport has always been the biggest part of my life. I grew up playing every sport on the sun, and then there was camogie. But since motorsport has come along, it's just given me, I suppose, a new lease of life. You could say it's one big family. So you get the opportunity to meet so many new people with the same interests. And I truthfully, a bit like Jason and the rest, I wouldn't even want to imagine what life without sport would be like.
Well, I just want to thank the four of you and Freddie's mom, Alison, for taking the time to be with us today. And the best of luck to all of you who are going to the Tokyo Olympics. We'd all be rooting for you. I'm now going to introduce Pádraig Healy. Pádraig, you are, of course, National Sports Development Manager with Vision Sports Ireland. You're going to recap for us the Mayfest week, Pádraig.
Thanks very much, Miriam. I'm delighted to on behalf of the Vision Sports team, give everyone a quick recap of the events which took place for the 40th anniversary of Mayfest. So we began the week with a wonderful Reeling in the Years special hosted by Joe Geraghty and Bernie Everard. This was, I suppose, to start off what was to be a week of 17 events with fitness classes, webinars, and online challenges. So from the screenshots on display, we have the attendees, and in the top left-hand corner, we have the Vision Sports Ireland logo. But what a successful event it was. Memories were shared from the very first Mayfest Games in 1981 through the decades to the more recent games, and our younger members gave an insight into their experience and how they got involved in sport. And I know Jason, being one of those examples who got his first taste of athletics at a Mayfest. And we were delighted also to induct 4 new people into the Vision Sports Hall of Fame. And those are Michael Delaney, posthumous, Carl Carr, Bridie Lynch, and Fintan O'Donnell. And that brings in total 16 people who are now inducted into that prestigious Hall of Fame list. So we're really thrilled with that. As the week progressed, our next slideshow displays some participants from our family dance. On the left-hand side, we have 2 screenshots from family dance, and on the top right, we have our youth tennis group, which was held in partnership with Tennis Ireland. And on the bottom right-hand corner, we have the over 50s movement, balance, and stretch class. And one thing that Vision Sports have learned during COVID-19 is that the positive impact which online classes have had on our members. We've realized that it's removing some of the barriers such as transport and geography, which can have huge implications on people getting to initiatives. So we certainly will be embedding the online offerings in the long-term strategic objectives of Vision Sports Ireland. And then moving to the next slide, throughout the week we had a 40K for 40 years virtual challenge. People posted their photos, their activities using hashtag Mayfest, Mayfest 40. On screen we have Annie Donnelly and her mom Kathleen, who were out walking in the rain in Tipperary, getting their 40K, contributing to their 40K challenge. And then on the right we have Pat Kelly and his pilot Tony Lynch holding their black tandem with some lovely blue skies and sandy beach in the background there in County Louth. So then we had some more participants submitting their photos. On the left here we have Victoria, who again was clocking up her kilometers on her cross trainer, and on the right we have Adam Duffy, who is looking very pleased with himself, giving the thumbs up in his blue jacket and his peaky cap, having completed his Knott Park run last Saturday. We know Adam is from County Monaghan, and we know he's really looking forward to receiving his Vision Sports Ireland peaky cap, which all participants who completed in 3 or more events throughout the week will receive. So Adam is really keenly waiting for that to arrive in the post next week. So then finally, our last snapshot is we have the yoga class on the top right-hand corner, and on the right we have the Vision Sports blind tennis webinar poster, along with 3 of the guests who attended that. was Geraldine McMahon from St. Joseph's Primary School for Children with Vision Impairment. We had Stuart Hallex, who's one of Ireland's top blind tennis players from Sligo, and we had Anne-Marie Breen, who is a development officer with Tennis Ireland. And then on the bottom right, we can see Vision Sports Ireland legend Catherine Walsh, who was interviewed by Rob Hartnett from Sport for Business to help promote the event. And Catherine, for anyone who doesn't know, she's a 7-time Paralympian across 3 sports: athletics, cycling, and para-triathlon, which is an incredible achievement. And Catherine and all her family are huge supporters of Vision Sport. So we thank Catherine for her support in helping us promote this year's 40th anniversary. So finally, just before I conclude, we had a wonderful prize to give away for all participants who attended 3 or more events throughout the week. We have a 2-night stay in the Granville Hotel in Waterford with breakfast and dinner. This was kindly donated to us by Anne Cusick, Vision Sports Ireland board member. So a big thank you to Anne. And I know Anne would agree that Waterford is definitely the nicest place to go on holidays, and we wouldn't be biased on that at all. And I think John Treacy might agree with us as well. So we're delighted. We conducted the draw for this wonderful prize just before we came on air, and we're delighted to announce that the winner is Aoife Lawless. So congratulations to Aoife and your wonderful prize. We hope you enjoy your weekend in Waterford, and a big thank you to all the participants and tutors and partners who contributed to this week's events. Back to you, Miriam.
Well done, Pádraig. That sounded great, and the pictures actually paint a picture, don't they? Like they tell the story. That was wonderful. Listen, we're going to move on to our next panel discussion. In this, we've got Senator Martin Conway, Petrina Finn and Pam Jennings, and later on, Paul Ledwidge will be closing it out for us. So I'll start with you, Martin. Lovely to chat to you. I've met you before. I know, of course, you're a board member of NCBI. You're a great supporter of Vision Sports Ireland. Share with us your recent fitness journey, will you, Martin? Because it's pretty exceptional.
I'm just going to ask Martin there, just if you don't mind just unmuting, I've sent you a request.
No problem.
Now, can you hear me, Miriam?
I can hear you perfectly, Martin.
Great to chat to you again, Miriam. Yeah, no, I suppose being somebody who was born essentially blind with less than 20% eyesight, and I suppose in a career that's very demanding in terms of politics, when I went to college and got my degree and then became a councillor and then became a senator, most of my time, if not all of my time, was dedicated to work and career. And of course, the problem was that there wasn't as much physical activity as there should be. So when lockdown came last year and post the Shannon election, I was in a situation where I did have time. And I started by walking, and I started by walking 2-3 kilometers. And, you know, I developed it up then to short jogs and then running. And I suppose my latest achievement is that I'm now running 7 kilometers in less than 30 minutes.
Wow.
Which is fantastic. And I suppose, look, these were targets that I set for myself. I said, I have an opportunity now to actually deal with the physical activity absence in my life and just get fit, lose weight, and just be healthy. And I would recommend it to anybody to get out there and become active. When I was in primary school, I went to integrated education in County Clare, and there wasn't any real facilities back then to become physically active because obviously, you know, when you're running teams, you're not going to pick somebody who can't see the ball. But that type of mindset now has completely changed, and Vision Sport played a huge role in changing that mindset. So young people now who are going through second level school have no excuse not to be physically active.
And Martin, like, you look so well now and everything. It's just to get started. We're talking about activity for all now. Yeah. Was it just, you know, what motivated you to do this? I mean, it's great you've done it, but was there a moment? Was there a night? What said, right, I'm getting up, I'm going to start walking and running?
I had tried it a couple of times by going to the gym and things like that. But I just went on the weighing scales one day and I said, I'm just too heavy. And then when I started it, I realized how unfit I was. And, you know, I suppose it was incremental. There wasn't a moment as such. I suppose the moment was the Wayne's Girls, but, but it did develop. And like I've become, I suppose, a big advocate now of people like the Jason Smyths of this world are fantastic. They're Paralympians. They're like high achievers. But there's lots more people like myself who are not high achievers, but need to be physically active and need to be healthy, and haven't been simply because of my disability. If I didn't have my eyesight disability, I probably would have been a lot more active. So like the message I want to get out there to everybody now is, you know, the 30 minutes a day, you can find it if you want to find it. And even if you just walk, after a month or 6 weeks, you will walk faster. And if you want then to upgrade to jogging, that can happen. And it can be done safely. Like if I can do it on the beach in Lahinch, where I live, there's beaches everywhere and there's parks, places, you know, there is no excuse. We can find the excuses if we want to. But really and truly, they are excuses, and there is no excuse for not being physically active. And we all, if we're physically active, we will live longer and we will be healthier and we will be more productive in our life and our career with our family, and we'll feel better, which is, you know, what it's all about, you know, feeling better, being happier and being happier.
Yeah. Yes, stay with us, Martin. I'm going to bring in now Petrina Finn. Hi, Petrina. Thanks so much for joining us. Petrina, will you tell us your story, Petrina?
Well, my name is Petrina and I'm 52 years of age. I'm living in Louth, in Drogheda in County Louth. I'm from there originally. I have always had poor sight, but it's gradually got worse over the years. And in 2005, I got a guide dog, and I've had a couple of guide dogs over the years, and I now use a long cane for mobility. I have about 10% sight, I think, but I think the doctors have been quite polite when they say that to me. So then I worked as a physiotherapist with children with disabilities and palliative care children for the last 26 years. But in 2019, I took early retirement due to my eyesight because I felt it was just getting too much, you know, so I took early retirement. So I came out of the workplace, and I was saying, I am going to do this, that, and the other. And all these great plans, you know, to go to yoga classes, because I was going to be one of these ladies who lunched, you know, sort of. Yeah. But unfortunately, the pandemic hit, you know, sort of, and I wasn't a lady who lunched or who did any sport or whatever. You know, I like walk. I still like walk, and I would get out and go for a walk. And I mean, the main motivator for that would be, now there's 5 adults living in this house. So the main motive for that would be to get away from the other 4 adults, you know, if I'm being honest, you know. Yeah. So I never heard of Vision Sports before. And I was at a Living with Sight Loss course with Fighting Blindness. And I heard about it. Joe Geraghty was talking at it, and I became a member. And as the pandemic rolled on, you know, when we realised that this light was a bit longer away than we thought it was, I started getting engaged in the classes, you know, the Zoom classes that Vision Sports had, you know.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And did you enjoy this year's Mayfest, Petrina?
I did indeed, yeah, because I had already attended, we'd say, the yoga and the over 50 stretching and things like that. But it was great to get in and see new members coming on board. Like actually Pam, who's here on the panel, we were laughing before this meeting saying that we've met each other through Zoom. We've never met each other in person. You know, we've been at different classes together. But the main thing I loved with the Mayfest was meeting new people, getting to see people in different parts of the country that are similar to yourself, you know, because any of my friends here at home wouldn't have a visual impairment, so wouldn't know the challenges that you may face and how you overcome some of the challenges. And I especially loved the tennis last night. I went to bed last night, Miriam, invigorated. I was throwing rolled up socks around the house all evening, catching keys, throwing up keys, catching them, like, you know, so much so the kids were saying to me, like, just stop. But I was just totally invigorated by it, you know, so I loved it.
That's wonderful. And listen, when the restrictions all end and we're on the route to that right now, what activities would you like to do?
Well, I'd love to get involved in the tennis. And I think I was telling them yesterday about how just before the pandemic hit, I had looked into tennis in Dundalk, visually impaired tennis in Dundalk, and I literally was going to go the following Tuesday. But unfortunately, lockdown happened, do you know, and I had worked out how I was going to get there, do you know, sort of, and my daughter's boyfriend at the time was going to drop me back to the bus to get the bus home. I did say to him, if he wanted to be more than just a boyfriend, he should really drive his mother-in-law home. That boy has gone by the wayside as well. So, but I definitely get involved in the tennis. But I still was, as Pork was saying earlier, I still would get very much involved in the Zoom because it's such a motivator. If I had to go down to a yoga class at home, it's probably half an hour walk to the town, half an hour walk home. So an hour's class is going to be 2 hours. If it's dark, then I probably have to get a lift, or if it's wet, get a lift. So that upheavals other people. Whereas I can do the Zoom classes independently. I'm not reliant on anyone. I'm not, you know, I can literally rely on myself, which is a great independence to me, you know, sort of, because I don't like relying on other people, you know, sort of. And then you know yourself in a household, Mary, if my husband was giving me a lift out, then somebody else has to go to training. It just adds to the mix. So definitely the tennis and the Zoom classes.
Yeah, well done. That sounds fantastic, Petrina. I know what you mean. Everyone wants a lift everywhere, always. Pam, your fascinating story. Look, I know recently you were diagnosed with a visual impairment, but in fact, physical activity has really supported you, hasn't it, at this stage? Pam, are you there?
Just going to ask Pam to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly, Pam.
Wonderful,
Hi.
wonderful. Hello. Yes, it has. Getting physically active has really helped me a lot in that I have a recently acquired visual impairment. So there was a lot to deal with all the changes in becoming visually impaired. And really the physical activity has helped me so much in that I always liked being active, but when this happened to me, I thought that was all behind me. And the thought that, I suppose when I got involved in Vision Sport and got involved with their activities, I realized that I saw so many people doing so many wonderful things. I realized that there were no limitations for me. And it just really supported me a lot. It's also helped me just to engage with the whole process of my new experience of being visually impaired. I think that was a big thing for me.
And the activities, there's so many, as you say, Vision Sports Ireland do and provide. Are there particular ones you've enjoyed that have been great, you like?
Yeah, the one that I've really enjoyed the most, and I've engaged in a number of them, had the opportunity over lockdown, and then I've also made them a priority for me because it helped me so much, was the Zoom fitness. Because it was a real challenge to me, I had become quite unfit because of the COVID and because of recent things that had happened to me. So I had to kind of face that, and it was difficult initially, but I'm getting better all the time, building confidence. It helps me with everything else that I do. And the support of the other people, the other members, has been fantastic. The big thing for me is when this first happened to me, I felt very alone. I felt that I was the only one experiencing this. And then when you see there's so many people and everyone doing wonderful things, you kind of put yourself aside and realize there's so many opportunities. And Zoom was probably the Zoom fitness was the one I liked the most, but they're all really good, very accessible. For me, having it come into my home was huge because, as Petrina was saying, going out, getting on public transport, getting to a class, getting home, depending on people picking you up, dropping you off, there's so much involved and so many other people involved. Whereas this was right in my home, accessible to me independently. And it's also made me, I'm going out much more now because you build a bit of confidence, then you go out more and you do more activities outside. So it was huge, huge support for me, Miriam.
That's brilliant. And did you enjoy the Mayfest, any of the Mayfest activities?
I did. I'll say I enjoyed them all. In that there was lots of opportunity to try new things, and I really enjoyed that. There was a nutrition class, There was a tennis. I got introduced into tennis. I didn't do the tennis seminar, but I got an introduction to it. I really enjoyed that. Something I would love to be a part of in the future if I had the opportunity. And the other thing that I want to say that I'm having the opportunity to get involved in that now, since being involved with Vision Sport, is tandem cycling. So and we hope to be starting that sometime that's very new to me, and I'm really looking forward to it. That's, I think, starting in June, once we're allowed to get together and do that. They organize some volunteers to help me and my husband along. So I'm really looking forward to going on a journey on a tandem bike in the future.
That sounds very romantic, actually.
I have the whole thing planned in my head.
Oh, good for you. That sounds fantastic. I'm probably now, we're bang on time going to bring in Paul, but just I might give you one last sentence each. Back to you, Martin. Sum up what, being active in recent times has meant for you. How it's changed your life.
Miriam, it has been life-changing. It's there's absolutely no doubt about it, because I was always, when working, I could always just feel that I was unfit, tired in the evening time and so on. But now I'm in a situation where I'm not tired in the evening. I feel fit. I feel great in myself, and I actually feel that I'm doing a better job as a result. So
Brilliant.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Well done, Petrina. Same question. How activity has changed your life, or has it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Well, like Martin, I dance on the scales, sort of, and I would be sort of quite, sort of try and keep my weight down. So the weight, sort of, it's great from that physical point of view, but definitely from the head point of view, and I know I made a laugh for getting away from the house, but definitely doing this, you can't feel annoyed after doing an hour's exercise, or 10 minutes exercise. Your endorphins are, and I'm big into sort of like mindfulness and things like that. Like, it just brings it all together, so and there are days like I would be a self-professed couch potato, but it's great having the classes there and just going and doing them, so.
Brilliant. And final word to you, Pam. How much has activity changed your life in recent times?
For me, recently, it's been extremely liberating to sort of being engaged with physical activity again, in that the one place I feel very much at home is out in nature, outside, and I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be involved with that again. It's been life-changing for me. It's been at the perfect time, and I'm absolutely delighted with the sport that I've gotten from Vision Sport.
Wow, you're also articulate. It was a privilege to interview you all, actually, and I'm now going to hand you over to the chairperson of Vision Sports Ireland for a closing address, and it's Paul Ledwidge. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Miriam. Thank you very much. Thanks for that introduction. It's been a terrific week for Vision Sports, and indeed blind and visually impaired people, in the light of the virtual context that we're in. Since the opening ceremony last Sunday, we've had over 400 participants across 24 counties participate in 17 different events. And 50% of the participants were entirely new to Vision Sports, which is a really positive indicator for the future and for disability sport. It's been really personally enlightening to see the crossover between so many of the older, like myself, and the new younger faces and talent, and the development of so many new friendships and networks that come with sporting participation. I'd like, if I could, to just take this opportunity to thank some of the people who made Mayfest possible. I really wish to extend my appreciation to Sport Ireland, particularly to John Treacy, who was on earlier, and indeed Minister Chambers and the Department of Sport. And also Vision Sports President Professor Michael O'Keefe, who has been extremely supportive over the years. My sincere thanks to all of today's special guests for sharing your own stories about your own trials and tribulations. You're an inspiration to all of us. I'd also like to thank the various national governing bodies, in particular those who hosted events during Mayfest. A big thank you to the local sports partnerships, disability service partners, and our National Council for the Blind colleagues for supporting the promotion of the event and spreading the Mayfest 40th message. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to thank the Vision Sports Ireland tutors who did fantastic work during Mayfest, delivering various online sessions, who worked hand in glove with the brilliant Vision Sports team, led by Aaron Mullineff, Padraig Keeley, Joe Geraghty, Christina Miller, and Zara McFadden. I just want to say, guys, we're so lucky to have you, and we do appreciate you. And of course, Miriam, I'd like to thank you also for so kindly hosting this event. If I may, just say a few brief words for the future. As society and sports opens back up, Vision Sports have our own return to sports plans and protocols, but we will continue to innovate and offer our online exercise series following the success of the COVID-19 Home Fitness Series, whilst aspiring to remove barriers to participation for all of our members in the various sports that they wish to partake in. Over the next 6 months, and only thanks to the increasing support of Sport Ireland, Vision Sports will deliver a new Vision Sports website and app, roll out our first new youth leadership development program, implement a new training and education framework to support and encourage volunteerism, and above all, continue to collaborate with national governing bodies and local sports partnership to develop a sustainable infrastructure to substantially increase sporting opportunities for blind and visually impaired people across Ireland. So after all of that, Miriam, back to you so as you can officially sign off on Mayfest 2021. Thanks, Miriam.
Thanks a million, Paul. Yeah, it's so interesting to hear you sum it all up there. Well, I've been very privileged for the past hour to hear extraordinary stories about the work, actually, first of all, that Sports Vision Ireland, that you do, and also for just the great experiences of the first panel, the people who are actually, I suppose, doing it at top levels like the Paralympics, but also the second panel, that it's kind of a vision to have activity for all. So all in all, it's been a privilege to be on this. Congrats to everyone in Vision Sports Ireland. It seems to be an incredible organisation, and even listening to the Pam and Petrina's there and the importance that you have played in their lives and the activities and on the first panel. So well done, everybody. It's my pleasure and privilege to close Mayfest, 40th anniversary. Here's to the next 40 years. Thanks so much to everybody, and Slán.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.